Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nenad and I'm going to show you how to use task form in Microsoft Project in a best way and when to use it and which part of them is best to use when. First of all, let me explain the problem. When we build Microsoft project plan, we have a lot of work to do. For example, I am going to build simple project like this. Summary 1, then task 1, task 2, task 3, and milestone 1. This is the common way in which we can build a project plan. Now I'm going to indent those tasks and I'm going to put some duration. For example, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and milestone is 0. Of course, I can make a predecessors here, like for example, task 1 is predecessor of task 2, and task 2 is predecessor of task 3. This is the simple way which I can build my project plan. Of course, I can put some resources here. So, for example, John, Mary, Peter, and Paula. I can now put some standard rates, for example, 100, 200, 300, and 400. Let me show you here. And now I can simply assign resources here. For example, this one will be for John, this one will for Mary, this one be for Peter and Paula, and that's it. Now, this is the way in which we can build very simple project plan. But as you already know, usually our projects are much bigger and larger than a few simple tasks like in my example. And of course, there are some other information for each and every task which we must put in. For example, will the task be, I will show you here, fixed units, fixed duration, or for fixed work? Will it be effort driven and non-effort driven? What about task relationships, like for example start to start, start to finish, finish to finish? And what if we have a lot of tasks in our project and we cannot see all of them in one screen like I can see here? So to show you how to avoid all those confusions, I'm going to show you my prepared project, which I called my project here. Now let me show you. Here I can I built a simple project with summary tasks, summary 1, summary 2, summary 3, summary 4, summary 5, etc., etc. Then I put some tasks below each summary task, and each those summary tasks is ended by milestone. Now, as you can see, I put it manually here, but I also could import those tasks from Microsoft Excel, and I put some durations. But from here on, I should build a very effective schedule, which is not so easy work to do because I cannot see all tasks in one screen. So I have to scroll up and down. Yes, of course, if I know that my task, for example, 37 has predecessor in task 1, I can choose task 1 and that's it. But This is the only thing what I can do. After I choose, for example, task 1, I can go here, and if this relationship is start, I should also put here 2SS, and this is not the easy way. What if this task is fixed duration? I should go to these tasks, to advanced tab, and set that and I should put that this task is fixed duration, for example, effort driven or non-effort driven. But which way is easiest than this one? The easiest way to build the effective schedule is to use task form. So let me show you how to get task form. You should go to View tab, and you should go to Details and put this check mark in. And if it's not shown by default, you should pick task form. Now we see task form, and you can see that this task form is very powerful. I'm going to hit next button, and I'm on the task 1 now. So what we can see then in upper part of task form we have all basic information about task, each and every single task. For example, we are now on task 1. We can see its name, it is task 1. We can see its duration. Here and here it is the same. We can here see, is it effort driven or non-effort driven? Is it manual scheduled or not? When is it supposed to start? When is it supposed to finish? And what is the task type? Fixed units, fixed duration, or fixed work? And of course, if after we will build effective plan, we will be able to put percentage of complete of the whole task. This is the first thing which I want to show you, and that is the upper part of task form, which hold basic information about the task, each and every task. If you want to go to next task, you should just hit the next button, and of course, if you want to go to previous task, you should hit previous button. Now let me show you what are the information which are on the lower part of the task form screen. First of all, I will show you that this is not only one screen which can be shown, but we have many of them. If you right-click on this part of the screen, you will see that we can choose between predecessor and successor, resources and predecessors, resources and successors, schedule, work, cost, nodes, and objects, which are not going to be explained in this session. So let's say that we are going to choose predecessor and successor. In this screen, we can establish relationship between two or more tasks, and we can establish predecessor and successors. Let's say that in task 2, that task 2 has predecessor like task 1, for example, which is here, summary task 1, and that its successor is task 3 and task 7. So you can see for task 2, predecessor will be task 1 and successor will be task 3 and task 7. Please do not think that I don't know how to build an effective schedule. This is just for example. This is not the right schedule which will you use in, for example, IT projects or construction projects or whatever. This is just an example. And you can notice here that nothing happened yet. Why? Because any single action which you want to perform on any single task must be finished with OK button. So this will have no consequences on task 2 until I don't hit OK button. When I hit OK button, you will see that task 2 now has predecessor as task 2, task 3 has predecessor as task 2, and task 7 has predecessor as task 2. Okay, now this is not the only thing which I can do. For example, let's say that task 2 has predecessor task 1, but it has no their relationship is not finish to start but start to start. I can simply put here SS, which means start to start, and when I hit OK button, I will see here that those tasks, task 2 and task 3, are in start to start relationship, and it means that task 2 has task 1 as predecessor with start to start relationship. This is first thing which I can do. Of course, I can do it like here. I can say here that task 7 is a successor of task 2 with finish to finish relationship, and when I hit OK, you will see here then task 2 and task 7 are connected with finish to finish relationship. Of course, I can continue with that for each and every task. For example, I can see, okay, task 3 now has predecessor task 2 because I put it just a minute before, but I can say that is not the only task which is predecessor, but also task 1 is predecessor, so I can say, and task 1 is also predecessor with start to start relationship, but his successor is task, for example, task 4. And I will say with finish to finish, which is default, and start to finish, sorry, and finish to start, sorry. And I, when I hit OK, I have my relationship for task 3. I can continue with that with task 4, with task 5, and let's say that now I am on the milestone, and for the milestone, task 4 is predecessor. I will put here task 4, as you can see, and that's it. Okay, and for task 5, we to start with task 5, we need that milestone is completed, so I will put for task 5 that milestone is predecessor, of course, milestone 1, and now I have my schedule for summary tasks below summary task 1. Now I stopped recording and I built a schedule, as you can see. So now I can see for each and every task predecessors with the relationships, finish to start, start to start for task 17, and successors. Now, did you find yourself in a situation in which you wanted to, for example, erase one task because you don't need it, or accidentally you put it, or you don't have resources, or something is happening which cause you that you don't need a particular task? What is the best practice to delete task? First of all, if you can put it inactive or delete it, but whatever you choose, first of all you must make this task as often. So it means that you should remove all predecessors for this task, and all, of course, to remove this task, particular task which you want to delete, from each and every single task which it is for which it is successor. Now with task form you can easily do that. I will show you task form. I will say that I don't need task 14 or task 14 anymore. So I know that I don't need predecessors, those. I will now simply erase these predecessors here, and I'm going to remember that successor is milestone ID 20, so I'm going to say okay, I'm going to milestone task 20, and of course I will task 14 erase as predecessor, and now I have my task 14 as an orphan. You can see that it has no predecessor, no successor, and now I can very easily delete these tasks, so I now don't, because I don't need it anymore. And what I will do here, that I will say that I need also task 18 as a predecessor. So I will put here task 18, and now I am establish meaningful schedule as again without task 14, which doesn't exist anymore. Okay, this is when we use type of predecessor and successor screen. Now we can use resources and predecessors, which to be honest I don't use any a lot. In this screen you can, for each and every task, assign resources with units and work, and you can see predecessor. So if you want for some task, let's say, put resources and predecessors, you can do it via this screen. Let me show you. I can say, for example, let's go from the very beginning, that for task 1 I need, let's say, Anita, and she will work only 50%. Since this task is the first task, I don't need any predecessor. I will hit OK, and I will have 4 hours. Why? Because this is fixed unit task. Anita is supposed to work only 4 hours because she is assigned 50% for this task, which has 1 day duration. So 50% of 1 day is 4 hours. Now let's go to the task 2, and now I see predecessor task. Predecessor is task 1. I can put here, for example, that Barbara will work on it, and I can say she needs 40 hours. Okay, I will say okay, and I will get extended. Let me show you again. Duration was 2 days, but when I said that I need Barbara and I need her to work 40 hours, 40 hours means that she will work 5 days because she is 100% assigned to this task. This is fixed unit task, and since she is going to work 100% on that particular task and I need 40 hours, of course duration is extended from 2 to 5 days. Now let's say that I go to the task 3 and I see that that I need, for example, Cindy. Cindy will work as it is. I will just hit OK. So it will calculate 3 days duration, multiply by 100% units. Why? Because in resource sheet I said the default units is 100%. It was calculated that she has to work for 24 hours. And now let's say then for task 4 I forget task 1 as a predecessor. So I can now here put task 1 as a predecessor, and of course I can say that Ellen will work, but 4 days. I know that 4 days will make her 4 multiplied by 8, 32 hours, and I don't need her to work 32 hours because I know that she is very capable and she can finish that work in 24 hours. Now look at these 4 days. When I hit OK, it will be 3 days because 24 hours are 3 days duration, not 4 anymore. So I can continue with that, but also I can use another screen, which is resources and successor, which is very similar to the previous screen, except in the right part of this screen you will not have predecessor but successor. Everything else is same, but remember that you are here you are going to choose successors, not predecessor. And as I told you, I don't use those screens very often because my approach is first of all predecessor and successor. So build the schedule, build the relationship, and then use another screen in which you will assign resources, but that screen is not resources and predecessor, nor it's resource and successor, but is the next one which I'm going to show you right away. And this is the schedule screen. Now look at the schedule screen. Now, the schedule screen is very powerful. Here you can assign resources as you could on our previous screen, resources and predecessor and resources and successor, but also you can put some other stuff which are very, very effective and very, very useful. Let's say that for task 5, which will last 3 days, I can assign Judy and I can assign Mark. Of course, I can put here work, but as you can see, I cannot put here units. So if you want to put units, you will use previous screen, which I will going to show you again in a minute. Let's say I hit just OK. Since I hit OK, default values are here. Judy and Mark are 100% assigned to this task, and because this task has 3 days duration, calculated hours working effort for Judy and Mark is 24 hours. I cannot put once again here that, for example, Judy should work 50%. I can do it if I, for example, put 12 hours here. Okay, but in that case I must know exact how many hours do I need, but this is not what I wanted to do. Let's say that I'm going to task 6 and I want, for example, here to assign myself with 50%. To do that, I'm going to, for example, resources and predecessor, and I can here put Nenad as resource with 50%, and 2 days with 50% per day is Nenad is going to calculate 8 hours in total. 4 hours at first day, 4 hours at second day. But let's go back to schedule task. Now, in this schedule task, I put myself and I can put also someone else. Let's say Peter. Okay, this is task which will last 2 days. Peter is assigned 100% and it is 16 hours calculated because 2 days multiplied by 100% is 16 hours. If you ask yourself How is it so that it is 100%? I should switch from here to the resource sheet, and I can show you that each and every resource has maximum unit 100%, which is default value. Let's say that Valentina has 50%. Okay, let's say if I'm not now going back to the task usage view, and let's say that I'm going to task 7, I can put Valentina as well here, but with that said, 3 days will not calculate 24 hours per Valentina, but it will calculate 12 hours because Valentina has her default value 50% units, and Microsoft Project will do through schedule part of task form calculate. Valentina, it means 50% per day, 3 days multiplied by 8 hours is 24 hours, and only 50% is worked by Valentina, it means 12 hours, 4 hours per day. And now, let's go here to task 8, for example. And now I'm going to show you some very interesting thing which I use a lot. Let's say that on task 8 we should use Paula, we should use Peter, and we should use John. Okay, 32 hours each of them, because I left default values. But let's say that Paula needs 40 hours and John 24 hours. Now I will have 5 days, because duration is determined by the longest work, which is here for Paula, and Paula has to work 40 hours. So now duration is calculated as 5 days, because 40 hours of Paula, 8 hours per day, produce 5 days of the duration. But this is just the one thing which I was intended to show you. Other thing which is very important is, let's say that, for example, Paula will start from Monday to Friday. Why? 5 days. But let's say that Peter, who obviously should work from Monday to Wednesday, because 24 hours means 3 days, Monday to Wednesday, and John is going to work 32 hours, which means 4 days from Monday to Thursday. Let's say that Peter is not going to start at Monday, but he's going to start at Tuesday. So he will not work from Monday to Wednesday, but he will going to work from Tuesday to Thursday. What should I do? I should go here, and I should, ut means utorak in my language, it is Tuesday. I will change from Monday 28 to Tuesday 29th. Okay, I will hit OK, and now watch here from Wednesday to Thursday. And now you can see that this is only one way to change the schedule start and schedule finish. The other way is to make delay, because as you can remember, since I moved this task from Monday to Tuesday, I caused delay with start 1 day. What, for example, if John, who is going to work from Monday to Thursday, is going to start at Wednesday? He is going to be 2 days in delay. It means that she is not delaying by task executing, but with task starting. This delay is not mean that he is late, but he will start to work not at the same day as Paula will start. And if I put 2 days, now you can see he is going to work from Wednesday to next Monday, because he needs 4 days, and that means that The whole duration is postponed for 1 day because Paula will start at Monday to Friday, Peter will start at Tuesday to Thursday, and John will start at Wednesday till next Monday. So the whole duration is calculated from Monday to Monday, and it is 6 days. And you can see that. So this is the easiest way when you want to assign resources to your task, but when your resources are not supposed to start to work at that same task at the same time. So this is something which is very, very powerful among other things like putting work and assign resources. Okay, this is about what we are when we are talking about assigning resources. Now I'm going to continue with something which is called work and work screen as a part of our task form screen. Now here at the work part of the screen of the task form, you can assign resources as well. For example, for task 9 I will put, let's say, Sven, but here I can combine units, work and overtime work. So let's say if I put here 50%, I will have 20 hours. Why? 5 days for Sven for 100% will means 40 hours, but because I put 50%, it is 20 hours. If I change to 32 hours, I will have 8 days because I'm dealing with fixed unit task. Okay? Let's say that, for example, I will now erase Sven from here. I will put 5 days again, and I will show you how can I change something else. I will put that this is, for example, fixed duration. Okay? Now I'm going to put Sven here. If I put Sven here as a resource and I say 50%, it will take 20 hours. But if I extend this to 40 hours or 48 hours, okay, I will have Sven as over allocated. Now something seems wrong here. How can it be that if Sven is assigned with 50% units and he is supposed to work 5 days by 50% per day, how is it so that work is 48 hours? Because 5 days multiplied by 8 hours means 40 hours, multiplied by 50% should produce 40 hours, but it doesn't. Let's say that I'm going to say task usage here. Now you will see something here. You will see that if I add peak, I will have some numbers which are different than here. Peak is unit which is actually assigned to the resource to the particular task. So when you see something like this which doesn't make a sense at the first glance, look for the peak field. Peak field means how much units will need resource, in this example Sven, to fulfill this particular task. Okay, that is something which I wanted to show you as well. So I have Sven here, and let's move a little bit further, and I will now show you, task form, okay, let's say task form. Here I'm going to Gantt chart. Be very careful where you put your cursor. For example, if I put cursor somewhere here in the task form, and I let's say I want to see task usage, you will have task usage on the lower part of the screen. So you should change this to task form, and if you, for example, want to task usage, you should be somewhere here and at the upper part of the screen. Choose any field you want and then go to task usage, for example, and back to the Gantt chart. Now let me show you something with, for example, task number 10. Let's say now Sven, you can see, is over allocated because I told that he's going to work 50 hours, 50%, but he should work 48 hours because it's fixed duration. It means that Sven will must finish his task in 5 days, but he needs 48 hours, so he will not work 50% per day, but much more, he will work 120%. So it means that he will not work 8 hours, but 9.6 hours per day. Okay, let's go a little bit further, and I'm going to show you with task 10 something else. Let's say that I need Henry. Okay, let's say Henry. Let's say that Henry should work, okay, 2 days, and let's say that I will say, okay, what if I say 8 hours overtime work? If I put here overtime work, I will have 1 day duration. How is it for? Let me go back. So first I assign Henry as 100%, which means in 2 days, this is fixed unit task, Henry will work 16 hours. If I put 8 hours as overtime work and hit OK, the work field will remain intact, the same, but duration will decrease. How is it for? Microsoft Project, when we are talking about overtime work, says, okay, I need 16 hours for this work, okay, but for these 16 hours, 8 hours will be overtime. So it calculates something like, let me show you here. It calculates. First of all, we had 2 days. Henry should work 8 hours per day, which is then 16 hours total. Okay, now we have 16 hours. Now I put overtime, and I say, okay, 8 hours are overtime. Now I have 8 hours overtime. How is calculation done by Microsoft Project? Microsoft Project says you have 16 hours total work. Now you have 8 hours of, I will say here 16 hours, 8 hours of overtime. So it means that from these 16 hours, 8 hours are going to be overtime. And now it means that it should be 1 day duration. Why? Because how many hours is going to be worked for this task, particular task? Let me show you. I will show you task usage. and I will show you that for this task, I'm going to scroll to the task, it will be 16 hours. Why? Because 1 day duration is calculated because 16 hours are total hours which must work, 8 hours is overtime, so Microsoft Project calculates 16 hours minus 8 hours overtime is, minus 8 hours is 8 hours. 8 hours divided by 8 hours per day is 1 day. So duration is 1 day, and all 16 hours should be done in 1 day. If this is not clear, let me show you another example. Let's say that duration is 3 days. Okay, and let's say that this is 24 hours. Okay, now for 3 days one resource should work, if this resource work 100%, 24 hours. Okay, now let's say that from these 24 hours, 8 hours are overtime. This is total work, and this is overtime work. Now, let's first calculate duration. Microsoft Project will say 24 hours is total work. Overtime work is 8 hours. It means that 24 minus 16 is 24 minus 8 is 16 hours. 16 hours will be divided by 8 hours per day, which is normal work. So 16 divided by 8 hours is 2 days duration, and in that 2 days duration all 24 hours should be done. So this resource will work only 2 days to fulfill those 24 hours. It means it will work 12 hours per day. So if I want to show you here, I can go to task 16 and I can say, okay, I have Nenad, which will work, okay, now 16 hours. If I put 8 hours of overtime work, okay, no, sorry, wrong example. I need this task, which is 3 days. I will put Nenad, and I will put, okay, this is 24 hours, 8 hours overtime work. You will see that this is 2 days, and if you go to this task, which I am going to do, I will work 12 hours per day, because once again calculation is made. 3 days multiplied by 8 hours are 24 hours, but 8 hours is overtime work, so to calculate the duration from work minus overtime work is 16 hours. 16 hours divided by 8 hours per day, which means 100% units, is 2 days, and in those 2 days I should fulfill 24 hours. It means I will work 12 hours per day. This is how this part of the screen, which is called work, can be used. Now I'm going to show you one last thing, which is cost. And in cost you can of course see for each and every single resource which is assigned to the task. Let me go back to the Gantt chart, how much it costs. here is 0 because here I have in resource sheet all standard rate 0. But if I put 100, 120, 130, 500, let's say something like this, I will certainly have something like cost, as you can see. So you can see then for each and every single task I now have costs which are calculated based on resource standard rate, and of course if I will have overtime rate and overtime hours, it will be calculated as well. Now let's say that we are done with our planning, and now I'm going to show you the last thing, which is how to track actual progress using task form. I will show you, this is what I'm going to show you next. Of course, before we can start to track project progress, the first thing what must be done is to save baseline. So I'm going to hit the project tab. I'm going to save set baseline, set baseline. I will name it, I will choose baseline because I cannot change name in Microsoft Project, and among 11 available baselines I will choose first one. I will say it is for entire project, and now see here baseline cost. I will put here, hop, here it is. Let's say work, units, work, overtime work, baseline work. Let's say schedule. In schedule you don't have any baseline, but in costs you can here have baseline, and in work you have of course baseline. Now we are able to track a project of using task form. Let's say we started with work, and at task 1 Anita fulfilled her job on time, on schedule, so I can put 100%. Okay, let's say that task 2 is completed 50% or 30%, which is nonsense. How can you know that something is 30%? But let's say 30%. Okay, now let's say that, for example, I want to know in schedule that, for example, at task 2 Barbara didn't start at the time which was in which she was supposed to start, but she started a little bit later. This is something which cannot be done by this screen. For that purpose you should use this function. You should go to task, you should go to task tab, you should go to mark on track, you should go to update. So choose the task, go to task tab, go to mark on track, go to update task, and now I can say, okay, since planned is that Barbara should start at Monday and finish at Friday, let's say that she started at Tuesday and finished at Thursday. So she started one day later, but she finished one day earlier. I can do that and everything will be okay. If I go to work here, I will see that baseline work was 40 hours, but Barbara worked only 3 days, and this is 24 hours, and this task is marked as completed. Of course, I can do next thing. I can go through the task form to the work, and I can say, okay, actual work. Now watch this carefully. For task 3, Cindy should work 24 hours. This is baseline work. Let's say that Cindy worked 8 hours. She started at time and she worked 8 hours, but she need another 40 hours. What will I get? So the total work here will be, when I hit OK, 48 hours, and this is right what I get. But actual work already done is 8 hours, and remaining work is 40 hours. Of course, if I now switch to the cost, I can see that baseline cost was 2088 local currency, okay, but actual cost is 8, her current rate multiplied by 8 hours, and remaining cost is multiplied by remaining hours. So here I can see actual cost. Now let's say that for example I want to put that actual cost is not 960 but 1000. You cannot see it now, but if I try, I'm now hitting 1 and 0, but I cannot put it in this field, nor I can put, for example, here. Let's say something what I can do. First, what I cannot do. Until task is not, I repeat, is not 100% finished, I cannot change any of these fields, cost or actual cost. Now I'm going to say that task 1 is this task 3 is 100% finished. Okay. Now you can see it's finished. Now if I want to say that actual cost wasn't 5,760 but it was 10,000, I can simply put 10,000 here and I will have actual cost. So actual cost can be changed only for task which is 100% finished, not earlier. Remember that. And by this way I can, of course, using work and schedule, put actual things, but with a schedule I can put, as with any other part of task form, I can put percentage of complete. But if I want to make put actuals, I should use work part of task form, and in that part of screen I can put actual work, remaining work, etc., etc. But if I want to make some other changes, like for example in task 4 for actual start for the whole task, actual finish for the whole task, or actual start for some resource, then I cannot use this screen and task form as all. Let's say at all. Let's say that task 8. Okay, here we have task 8. We know that Paula, Peter, and John are going to work on this task, and we know that Paula should work 40 hours, Peter 24, and John 32. But let's say that they didn't start at the same time. Let's say here, schedule. You can see how they should work, but I cannot here change actual start and actual finish. Okay, I cannot do that from here. For task 8, I should go here. I should go to the, for example, task usage, and when I go to task 8, I cannot use for actual start and actual finish date this part of screen, but through task usage I can go to John, double click on John, and here goes to tracking. Now here I can put actual start and actual finish. I know that actual start and actual finish is for example, for John is from Tuesday to Friday, okay, Tuesday to Friday, but I can say that actual start was not Tuesday 29th, but Wednesday 30th of May, and that he finished at the very same day. What will I get here now? I will have that he has 8 hours of work, and if I go, why? Because actual start and actual finish is here changed, of course, and because actual start and actual finish were the same date, same day, he is supposed to work 8 hours, and if I switch to the work part of the screen, I can see that baseline work was 32 hours. He worked only 8 hours because he started at Wednesday, he finished at Wednesday, and of course he spared a lot of time, and exactly 32 hours minus 8 hours, which was really needed for this. For him, for this task, it is 32 minus 8, 24 hours. He spared 24 hours. Of course, I can do the same thing for Peter. I can go to Peter, and I can say that he actually started. Let me show here schedule. I can go to Peter here. I can go to Peter. I know that he should start at 31st of May and finish at 4th of June, but I can say, okay, he really started when he was supposed to start it, but he was late and he didn't finish at June 6th, but he finished, let's say, at June 8th. Now you will see he was supposed to work 24 hours, but now it will be 56 hours because he was late. And if I look now at the work, I will see for Peter that he was baselined as with 24 hours, but he worked 56 hours, so he didn't spare not a single hour, but he spent much more than he was supposed to. I didn't say that it was his fault, but anyway, he spent much more time than he was supposed to. And that's it, folks. More or less, that's all what I planned to show you for today. So, as you can see, task form is very powerful. You can do a lot of things with it. You can put many information. You can use it for planning and as well for tracking. Not all. You must switch for some thing from schedule screen, in which you can put schedule start and schedule finish and delay, through work screen, in which you can put units and work and see baseline work and put actual work. Sometimes you will need, for some additional things, you will need to use resource usage or task usage with task tracking, but anyway, it is very powerful. And I hope that you learned something new. And for the end of this presentation, I have to apologize because, first of all, English is not my native language, and I'm much better in writing blog than speaking. And it is not excuse, but just to know, I had pneumonia a few days ago, and I just went out for hospital, so I didn't want to cancel this lecture or this session, because I am honored. I am honored to be a part of such great community and to be MVP. For any further information, do not hesitate to contact me. I will show you. Here is my name is my mail is Nenad, and of course you can always find additional tips and tricks here in, let me show you, in Entrakowski.com, where you can find a lot of articles about Microsoft project and project management as well. I want you to have a great day and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much for your attention. See you soon.